everyone, Emma with you today, sharing a very quick little tag created for Scrapping Clearly, playing with a few odds and ends that I've got in my stash. So I started off by using an Art by Marlene tabbed tag, and I'm going to add very quickly just some old book paper that I've got in my stash. So this is from an old encyclopedia, and I'm just going to add that with some gel medium. Not really thinking about it too much, just ripping pieces off and then collaging them onto this little tag. This tag has not been prepped with any gesso. I am just using gel medium to adhere and just adding bits and pieces. I'm not even worried about covering everything up. I'm just adding what I can to the tag. I'm now going to dry that a little bit, cleaning up my mess as I go, and then I am going to wait until that is dry, and then I'll trim my edges. So I do that in amongst my edits. Before I do that, I'm adding a little bit of white gesso just with my finger to blend that into the background a little bit, and to also prime my paper for any wet medium that I may add to it, which I will be. So I've just used my finger as my brush basically and just rubbed a bit of white gesso over everything. And again, I'm going to give that a quick dry. As you can see off camera, I've just trimmed that nice and neatly to match the tab tag. Now I've grabbed a couple of distressed crayons. I've used Dusty Concord and Seedless Preserve. Now the mood board for this month has given me a little bit of inspiration using the purples. I am not a purple person. I tend to stay right away from any purples, but I've started to really kind of enjoy the colour and the way it. I can use it as a vintage style. I can use it as a pop style. There's so many different ways you can use purple. Who would have thought? So yes, this is 2 distressed crayons that I have just rubbed on randomly, added a bit of water, used a brush to move it around, and now I'm heat setting it, dabbing any excess with a baby wipe. Going in with some more of the colour just to start blending it through a little bit more, using my fingers, just acting real quick with my process, not overthinking it, just getting the colour on there, having a play and not worrying too much about the end result, because hey, layers make the end result. I've now grabbed some Distress Oxide, and it's in the vintage photo, and I am blending that around my edges because I want to use a vintage photo that I've got from some old Finnabar stickers. I just wanted to create a bit of a vintage feel. Adding a bit more crayon around the border and just smudging that with my finger and blending it into the tag. Great thing about distressed crayons is they are so blendable and so easy to use. I found this really random piece of wood that I actually found in my stash, and I thought I might as well use it on this. So I'm just wanted this to be quick, so I thought I'll add some Distress Oxides to add colour to this wood, and I'm rubbing it on with the Distress Crayon, and then just with the heat of my finger, just moving that around on the actual frame. I did let my finger just clean up a little bit over a baby wipe and then smudged back over it, and it just, because my finger was damp, it moved the crayon a little bit more. I'm now adding some stamps. And I'm using the Field Notes collection from Stampers Anonymous. So just a few random stamps here and there that I thought would be fun. Yeah, I love the Field Notes ones because you can vintage it. You can, yeah, it's got quite an eclectic feel anyway, so it pretty much goes with everything. So just a few stamps from that one. And then I let that dry a little bit, but probably not enough because I do smudge my stamps just a little bit, but hey, it's all cool. So I'm just looking for a stencil, and I decided to use set 28 of the mini stencils by Tim Holtz. And I'm using the brickwork one in the set. I love these mini stencils. They're so good, especially for tag making and art journaling. I absolutely love them. And I'm going over sections of my tag just with the stencil and a bit of Distress Oxide. And now I've just grabbed my fine line pen and I'm just etching out a little bit around those brickworks just so that they add a bit of dimension. And then because that smudged up a couple of my stamps, I re-impress those stamps on top of the brickwork so that we can see it again. Easy fix. And then I make sure all those elements are nice and dry, just so that then I can work on it. Now I am going to add a bit more colour with which colour was that? That was Seedless Preserves, just to bring that colour back in so that it's not so brown on the edges. Reinforcing one of those stickers from Finnabair or Prima, and just roughing up the edges and then going to distress the edges again with a little bit of Distress Oxide. And now comes my layering. Using a bit of muslin, very roughly torn. Adding it to my tag, and then I'll slowly add all my layers. Again, trying not to overthink my process too much, just creating something simple and just having fun playing with elements that use up things in my stash. Just finding some nice little embellishments to complement this. I've got some cool flowers that I bought in Kylie's shop, as well as some little odds and ends that I've got, some mechanicals and that cute little crocheted button. I'm going to add all that I got in Kylie's shop, which is so cool. Everything pretty much that you see here tonight is available, apart from probably the wood, because that was a random piece in my stash. So now I'm just placing all my little embellishments. Here comes one of the mechanicals. It's a cute little number mechanical. Again, here's a few more pieces of those wood. A little bit of foliage. Keeping my embellishments quite simple. I added one tiny little purple rosebud. These colours of the purples don't match the mood board exactly, but I was inspired by the fact that it was purple and that, a colour that I don't normally play with. Thought, why not make a vintage styled layout with it or tag with it. Just using my Posca pen to add a border, a white border, which went beautifully cream when it mixed with the Distress Oxide, which gave that vintage vibe another just tick of approval for me. Grabbed a stack of black twine, and I'm just using that as through my tag punch. And I am then going to splash it with a little bit of white splash ink. And because it's got a quote on there with the photograph, with that little sticker, I didn't need to add a quote. And so that's my little tag all complete. Nice and quick, quite simple, yet fairly effective. Another little tag to add to my stash. I hope this has inspired you. And I hope you get to have a little play with the mood board again this month of Scrapping Clearly. And I can't wait to share another project with you very soon. I look forward to seeing everyone's contributions to the albums. Thanks everyone. Bye.